All right, ready to roll here on a Saturday morning. Thanks to our friends at Insperity. Visit Insperity.com for powerful HR solution with exceptional follow through. Nice to have you aboard as we take you through what's going on in the world of golf at the halfway point of the FedEx St. Jude Championship. A little bit of a weather delay there in Memphis yesterday afternoon. Tommy Fleetwood did get into the house after 2 rounds, 63-64. He goes into the weekend with a 4-shot lead. Colin Morikawa and Akshay Bhatti in a tie for second at 9 under. Two guys maybe on the outside looking in as far as the Ryder Cup is concerned. We'll get to that later on. And Justin Rose, he is also in a tie for second at 9 under. He still has 3 holes to play in his second round. He's 3 under through 16. So we'll get to that. Charlie, how you doing this morning?
I'm ready for a good show. We got some exciting stuff. At the end of the season, it's hard to believe that our season is over with, but we have the championship season going on. So a lot of good golf yet. Memphis is an interesting place to play golf in August. It's hot and humid, and yesterday evening the clouds just let 2 or 3 inches of rain change the whole golf tournament. So we'll see what happens this weekend.
It was pouring, Charlie. Todd Lewis, your friend Todd Lewis, he gave an update, and the media center was flooding there in Memphis, and it wasn't in the forecast, Charlie. It just kind of popped up.
Popped up one of those summer showers.
Yeah, it reminded me of a summer shower in Florida, and this course really kind of reminds me of a course that would be located in the Florida area with the most water. Statistically, this course warrants the most water balls on tour every year. There's a lot of hazards around this golf course.
Yes.
They have new greens. They just put in new greens. Charlie, you've been around this game a long time. This playoff format, we saw last week the fields get cut to 70 after the Wyndham Championship. Next week, the tour will go to Caves Valley outside of Baltimore. Field will get cut down to 50 and then down to 30 at Eastlake. And remember, halfway through this season, they changed the Eastlake format from a staggered start leaderboard to everyone starting an even par. But it still seems like these playoffs are a work in progress for the PGA Tour.
Yes, they're always trying to find the secret to find some way to keep everybody interested in and everybody sharing in the riches of the PGA Tour. I never really liked giving shots in a professional tournament. I never understood that, but we'll see how this new system works.
Brian Rolops, the new CEO at
Yes.
the PGA Tour, he started 2 weeks ago. Are there some things you would like to see changed? Do you want to see, PGA Tour and Live come to the table? Do you want to see a deal done? What do you think his kind of his big agenda is here over the next couple of years?
Well, number one, he doesn't know anything about the game. He said that, so he's got a learning curve. Before he starts making any decisions, he's got to do a lot of listening and formulate a philosophy that his tenure might develop into something bigger and better for the PGA Tour. They got to decide one way or the other how the Live Golf is going to fit in to the World Golf. I mean, I think they're adults. They understand business. You've got Live out there that has more money than sense, and they got to bring them together and make this work. I mean, baseball has American League and National League, because there was the demand for that type of entertainment. Football's the same way. Maybe golf is time to have two leagues that have a playoff between them at the end of the year. I don't know, but they got to find something.
That seems like it would make sense, and really the only coming together news that we've heard, and it's not even official yet, but Rory McIlroy mentioned that they could use the TGL Indoor League to integrate PGA Tour and Live and have kind of a PGA Tour versus Live indoor competition a couple times a year. But once again, when it comes to the week-to-week professional golf, it seems like those conversations are still at a standstill. Charlie, you remember many years ago when PGA of America split and the PGA Tour was created. How long did that process take? Do you remember if when the conversations were first started to when the deal was done?
No, I can't recall
Okay.
that timeline. But they worked it all out. It's just kind of like the NBA and the American League basketball situation. They had a different ball. They had, you know, tweak this, tweak that. But the bottom line is people just want to watch competition.
Yeah.
And also there's 100 golf courses in the United States that want to raise money for charity.
Yeah.
And and there's great golf courses that would host these type of golf outings, and then so there's room for improvement. And but see, the bottom line, once again, where's Rory?
Yeah, where's Roy?
Why is he? How can he not play in the playoffs?
And he's the one that he kind of cultivated this format, Charlie. He's the one that wanted the signature events during the regular season,
Yep.
cut down to 70 players. He has missed more signature events in the last 2 years than any other star player.
Yeah.
And in this sport, in golf, I'm not really interested in hearing how there's first round buys in the MLB or the NFL or the NBA. In the golf playoffs, it's 3 tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
It's 3 weeks. You get a little break. I understand Rory has a fall schedule where he's going to go grow the game internationally and finish out the DP World Tour season. But for the product, how about FedEx
Yeah.
being the largest sponsor on the PGA Tour? That should be a big enough reason just to show up alone.
I would think that would be mandatory.
And what St. Jude does,
Yes.
I don't have this. This is not factual. It could be, but FedEx or St. Jude is one of the the amount of charity that the PGA Tour does for St. Jude and the amount of money that's raised to get to St. Jude and those children. It's got to be up there with one of the most on the PGA Tour.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. They've been years and years and years, and they've done marvelous things for children all over the world that come to that hospital because number one, they can't afford it, but number two, they're very sick, and they leave there healthy,
Yeah.
and that's really good. But I just read this morning that our good friend Randy Smith's disciple just gave $10 million to
St. Jude?
no to buy to build a facility of its own for elderly people.
Wow.
He stepped to the plate.
Scheffler.
Scheffler.
Yeah.
I think that's just really amazing that at his young age, but he and his wife, they have their priorities, and they want to put something in the community that will really stand the test of times. And man, they started, the right way.
Yeah, no, he does think he just Scotty. He is not only is he the best player in the world, just as far as what he does, the way he gives back, the way he shows up to the first tee outings on Mondays. I've been asked this a bunch, over the last year. Who are the best guys on the PGA Tour, not only on the course but off, and unbiasedly, it's got to be 2 guys from Texas, Scotty Scheffler and Jordan Spieth. I mean, I see them on Mondays doing these junior clinics more than any other player.
But I would put in Ben Crenshaw, the history of the game.
Yeah.
There's so many great golfers. Jim Furyk has his own tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes on and on and on.
A lot of great philanthropists in the game.
That's right.
Charlie.
Exactly right.
But to your point on Rory, where is Rory? The one thing with this playoff system right now is if you're in the top 25 on the money list going into the playoffs, it does allow players to skip Memphis and still have a pretty good shot to get to the Tour Championship. That's something I think Brian Roloff, needs to figure out. But of course, Rory, it's been an interesting journey after completing the Grand Slam. We've talked about it a lot. We thought maybe, he'd be running down the fairways, giving high five to fans and just celebrating it for the rest of the year and celebrating with the PGA Tour fans. And he's gone a slightly different direction.
He is.
Yeah.
He's on both sides of the corner.
Yeah, no doubt. Last week we saw Cameron Young win his first PGA Tour event in his 94 start on the PGA Tour. It was something that the world of golf had been waiting for. We've seen, he had 42 top tens going into last week without a win. He's been part of team events. He's played well in major championships. We saw him finish tied for fourth at the U.S. Open a couple months ago. Here was Cam Young on the burden of that weight.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's always some, but it's not in the sense of it's not like a burden that I hadn't won. It just is something that I haven't done and I'd like to. And, at times it hurts to have played some really good golf and not had that happen. But in all those cases, there were really no times that I had it in my hands and lost. So it's different, I think, than having a burden. It wasn't really like that. It was more just, when is it going to be my time here? And because it just felt like a lot of those tournaments weren't. I think I answered a question. I think I answered basically that question at the PGA Championship in 2022. Somebody asked me something similar. When are you going to win something? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, I played pretty well today. I'm sure one of these times I'll be right there and I'll shoot 31 on the back nine and win. And I went to the British Open and shot 31 on the back nine and lost by one. So to someone that shot 30, it wasn't like I was coming way back or anything. Like I was right there and shot 5 under and lost. So, or got beat rather. So I mean, not a burden in the traditional sense. Today was a different situation than I've ever been in. And, it was our goal today to come out and see how many I could win by if I stuck to our plan. And about halfway through the round, my brain just said, let's make some pars. So I was trying to aim at stuff, and I honestly I think the mind is powerful, and it was just taking me, towards the middle of greens. And I would have liked to hit some better shots, but, got it done and happy to have done it.
Great player out of Wake Forest, Charlie, following in the footsteps of Arnold Palmer, Will Zalatoris, Landy Watkins, Curtis Strange, Webb Simpson, Bill Haas, Scott Hoke.
Scott Hoke.
What a list of players coming out of Wake Forest, and Cam Young joins the party there for his first PGA Tour win. Switch golf balls to a lower spin Titleist ball last week. How important is ball testing, Charlie, for the weekend player?
Oh, it's for the weekend player?
But how about this? For the amateur golfer at home, maybe competing 3-4 times a year, they're playing in their club events, maybe breaking 80 sometimes. How important is it for that golfer in the ball testing process?
Not as important as somebody as good as a golf professional that makes contact and the ball comes out of the center face of the club every time. But, you have budget. You got to,
Yeah.
But
$52 for a box of Pro Vs.
Yeah, if you go to the used ball corner, you can do that. But the testing for the great golfer is very important.
Yeah,
because today we can get the spin rate of what produced the club and the ball and study that. And you become a better player. And also for the short game, if you're a good short game player, you want to play a little softer ball, a little ball that you can spin, give up 12, 15 yards of distance, but you want to be able to chip in that every hole if you can.
We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll come back hearing from St. Jude leader at the halfway point, Tommy Fleetwood. We'll hear from him. He was asked, is it his time to break through on the PGA Tour like Cam Young did last week? Fleetwood talked about TPC Southwind, what he likes about the golf course. We'll also hear from Colin Morikawa on the lessons he learned at the Scottish and British Open. Had a rough go at those two courses, and now his Ryder Cup position is in question. Keegan Bradley will have to finalize Team USA, the top 6 after the BMW, and the next 6 after the Tour Championship. Morikawa also on his 5th caddy of the year this week. 5th. Unbelievable,
Wow.
Charlie. We'll get to that on the other side. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour presented by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Mike Booker, chairman of the Texas Golf Hall of Fame and holder of a record number of Texas Golf Association championships.
The Texas Golf Hall of Fame is the foundation of golf in our great state. So many great individuals, Ben Hogan, Byron Nelson, Kathy Whitworth, Ben Crenshaw, Babe Zaharias, Tom Kite, and many more lead the way in making golf in Texas known around the world. Learn about the historic golf courses and the individuals that promoted the game through leadership, teaching, and passion. Texas and golf go hand in hand in the history of the game and camaraderie. Together we can honor the past, celebrate the present, and inspire future generations of Texas golfers. Golf is a sport for everyone, and I encourage you to experience the history of Texas golf digitally at texasgolfhof.org and share with your golf family and friends. That's texasgolfhof.org. See you on the course.
Brought to you by Insperity HR that makes a difference. For more than 35 years, Insperity has been helping businesses succeed so communities can prosper. Really, if you're a business owner and you feel like the walls are closing in, the obstacles to growing your business are overwhelming, you really need to give Insperity a call. They have all the business tools, support, expertise you need. Charlie, you've known this company since the beginning.
Since 1986, I've seen him grow from four gentlemen that were, drinking coffee and thinking about the future. And here we are in 2025, and it's a $7 billion company. And it's a $7 billion company for one reason: they know what the heck they're doing, and they're helping small businesses grow their business. And they put a formula together where people can work together, and that's the key. We've got to really be a team, just kind of like the Kansas City, football team, or the Houston Astros.
Yeah.
A team gets it done. So if you want to increase your team, give Insperity a call, tell them what you do, and they will come and check you out and give you some ideas on HR problems or HR solutions. And it's just such a wonderful company, and I can't talk enough about them, Will.
That if you are a business owner that is looking for improvements as far as HR administration to compliance, payroll solutions, give Insperity a call. Once again, that is Insperity HR that makes a difference.
This is Last Call with Joe George.
On ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Live from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Joe George.
Welcome back to the Charlie Epps Golf Hour with Charlie Epps and Will Doctor, presented by Insperity HR that makes a difference. Scotty Scheffler was the favorite at plus 315 going into this week. He opened 67-66 in a tie for 7th. He is in a great spot heading into the weekend. Absolutely loved our conversation with Randy Smith last week. Charlie, what a treat that was.
It was really a treat. Randy Smith has produced so many great golfers in Texas because of his philosophy, and it's all about the club face and the golf club and how to swing it and where to put it in a position to hit solid contact every time, and they do that, and my hat's is off to Randy and now to the great
Scotty Scheffler. Scotty Scheffler, Justin Leonard.
I got 10 million reasons why I love the kid.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy that knows what to do with his money, so provide hospital care for senior people. I mean, it's such a great story.
Yeah. Now, he has 4 occasions, Scheffler, where he's gone back-to-back. Of course, he's coming off his 4th major championship at the British Open. Most recent back-to-back was the Byron Nelson, the PGA Championship this year. He is well within reach of Tommy Fleetwood. We'll see if Fleetwood opened as a second favorite this week at 25-1, opened 63-64. Played incredible golf through 2 rounds. We'll see if he can pick up his first PGA Tour win, a la Cam Young. Obviously, Fleetwood has had a couple more heartbreaks than Young. He's an 8-time DP World Tour winner in his early 30s, so the time is now. He heads into the weekend at the St. Jude with a 4-shot lead.
Cam broke through last week. Is this your week?
Well, we'll see. Happy to put myself in with a chance over the weekend. I think, this is exactly where you want to be and keep testing yourself. And, it hasn't happened for me yet out on the PGA Tour, but I would much rather be up there and not quite getting it done than not there at all. And who knows, maybe this week is the week and we'll see and we'll crack on from there. But, look forward to tomorrow first.
The most top 10s without a win on the PGA Tour, and he had another golden opportunity about a month ago at the Travelers. Once again, 42 top 10 finishes on the PGA Tour for Tommy Fleetwood. Charlie, looking back with your students, Angel Cabrera, Blaine McAllister, maybe even a Freddie Couples, did they have any trouble breaking through for that first win? Of course, in Angel's case, that would be on the DP World Tour where he started.
Yeah, Blaine was a special student of mine, and Blaine is what you call an overachiever. There's some things that his talent wasn't as natural as a Freddie Couples, but he worked so hard, and once he broke into the winner's circle and he won down in the Honda, then he won 5 times more, and for a gentleman that had some trouble with putting and so on and so forth, it just shows you hard work and attitude. It's self-talk. It's how an athlete talks to himself. There's different conversations that you got to have as an athlete to perform at a high level, and there's nothing that happens without a thought. You got to have a vocabulary, whether it's your golf vocabulary or the doctor performing surgery has a way of talking to himself through the operation to become successful.
How much can the caddy help that?
A caddy at the right time has the ability to say the right thing, and he knows his man when he's getting too uptight or too serious. Get him relaxed. A good joke out of a caddy at the right time can go a long ways. So once again, it's Bob Rotella was my mentor for many years. I worked with him at Golf Digest, and it's just he said, "Tell your mind how good you really are. Tell your mind that okay, now it's time to go play golf. Forget about the bad shots. Let's make some good shots."
It's amazing how prevalent the mental coach is now on the PGA Tour. Obviously, Rotella was the godfather, but you're seeing Julie Elion. She's a doctor working with a lot of players. She's working with Wyndham Clark. Charlie, if Wyndham Clark, incredible player, 4-time PGA Tour winner, has a U.S. Open on the resume. He's going to the weekend 8 shots back at 5 under. But another great example of someone who has really had to fight the mental battles. Obviously, unfortunately, he was asked never to come back to Oakmont Country Club again after he took out 3 lockers and
they're antique lockers. They've been there since day one.
Since 1907, Charlie.
Yes.
And we saw Clark take out a couple tee markers earlier this year. He is someone where if he can find what you're talking about, Charlie, he can win in masses. So we'll keep an eye on Clark. Going back to Fleetwood. And Charlie, by the way, as far as the caddy conversation, I'm reading Stevie Williams' book right now.
Yes.
On Tiger. And it's just amazing the decisions the elite caddies have to make. I mean, you go back to the 2000 PGA Championship, and it looked like Sergio was going to win that PGA, and Tiger hadn't won a major in about 2 years. And maybe the biggest putt of Tiger's career, when you look back, was a par putt that he had on the 16th hole. And Tiger thought it was left edge. Stevie came in and said it's outside left, Tiger. It's a half ball outside. And Tiger drained it, goes on to win, and then Tiger gets this photo of Stevie crouched behind Tiger on the 16th, telling him, "Hey, this is the right line." But I mean, think if Stevie was wrong, Charlie, would he have still caddied all those years? I mean, that seems like it was a big moment.
Well, it's always up to the player. He can say yes or no.
Yeah.
But Stevie proved to be an incredible coach, caddy, friend, confidant,
bodyguard.
And then he had other caddies that were successful too. Yeah. But it's a mind's game, and you get down to the 18th hole and you stand up on the to hit the shot, you got to run some good thoughts through your mind. So
no doubt. We got to take a quick break. More from Fleetwood and Morikawa on the other side. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hours by Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Mike Booker, chairman of the Texas Golf Hall of Fame and holder of a record number of Texas Golf Association championships.
The Texas Golf Hall of Fame is the foundation of golf in our great state. So many great individuals, Ben Hogan, Byron Nelson, Kathy Whitworth, Ben Crenshaw, and many others, lead the way in making golf in Texas known around the world. Now you can experience the history of Texas golf digitally at texasgolfhof.org and share with your family and friends. See you on the course.
The Charlie Epps Golf Hour, powered by Insperity, continues
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
from the Veritex Community Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor and Charlie Epps.
A quick congratulations to we got a couple congratulations here. Number one, Jim Nantz and the crew at CBS, Charlie, they had their best viewership year in 5 years.
Isn't that great?
18% increase from last year. Only 3 tournaments all season had a viewership decrease compared to last year. All of these tournaments thrive throughout the year. Incredible products that the PGA Tour is putting on. CBS concluded their season last week with Cam Young's victory at Sedgefield. We'll have Jim on here in the next couple weeks and review the season before he gets started on NFL.
Yes, we will.
And now Tommy Fleetwood, has the opportunity to, if he's still in the mix after, going into the final round and you're seeing someone like Scheffler or Colin Morikawa push his buttons a little bit down the stretch, you're going to see another record finish for the St. Jude there in Memphis. The leader, Tommy Fleetwood, his game sets up for this golf course. It's a plotter's golf course, a lot of sharp dog legs. A lot of precision that goes into this golf course. Here was Fleetwood on Southwind.
Well, I think so. I think, it's a course where you can really score well if you're in the fairway, and if you're not, it becomes a struggle. I think the two times I missed the fairway today. You look at 9 and 18. 9 I had to chip out, and yeah, I made par, but I had to get up and down from 105 yards or whatever it was, and then 18 I was out of position, make bogey. I just think it's very easy to do that, and I think if you're hitting it well off the tee, it just makes the course very gettable.
So 63-64 opener for Fleetwood. Charlie, you've got a vet in Justin Rose. He finished up at 4 under this morning. He's in solo second, 3 back. You got Colin Morikawa, Akshay Bhatti up there. Any of these names pique your interest as far as someone who could give Fleetwood a run for their money tomorrow?
Probably his best friend, Justin Rose.
Yeah.
Russ, he's had a good year. He hasn't won yet, and he's really striking the ball well. He's fun to watch, and I know he wants to win, and because he's got to make his Ryder Cup team.
There's no doubt. And became the lost in the playoff earlier this year to Rory McIlroy at the Masters, and still has a ton of game. Colin Morikawa is another one whose Ryder Cup position is really on the line. I mean, a couple months ago, he looked like a lock.
Yes.
He comes into this week off a couple missed cuts, a couple bad starts, and here were the lessons he learned across the pond at the Scottish and British Open.
It wasn't good. Look, you get very exposed out there in Europe, and not just in Europe, but just over the past 2 months, the game, you can look at my stats all you want. It comes down to being able to hit my iron shots how I want. And I hate missing them 30 feet left. I want to be able to take a 7-iron, choke down on it, and hit a nice spinny cut 155 yards, right, or 160 yards. So it wasn't good. I went back to the drawing board, had to figure it out, had to really look at it from another perspective and say, okay, I look at my swing. It looks like this. How do I just get down to the nitty-gritty and saying, maybe I need to be in this position, maybe I need to look at some setup stuff, and you just keep trial and error stuff. And, we found some key points compared to my older swings when I was, coming out here as a pro. It's hard not to try and mimic it exactly, but there's pieces of my swing that I've got to make sure I have.
That's good footage for people to listen to, and how these golf professionals really check every inch of their golf swing and try to figure it out. And that's one reason why we got such a good product in professional golf. These guys are professionals, and they want to play good golf. It's not about the money. They want to play good golf.
How about in this world where everyone's just trying to find distance? Morikawa is just really looking to hit a dependable 155-yard, 7-iron cut. This is something you've practiced with me on the range a lot, Charlie.
Yes.
Not trying to get everything out of every iron.
No.
What can the weekend listener learn from that?
Well, I always had a drill for my students: full swing, half speed. full swing, half speed. Let's get control of the club. It's just kind of like learning how to drive your car. You don't learn how to drive your car at 80 miles an hour. Some people do. No, you got to start from ground zero. You got to start little mini swings before success. Mini swings from parallel to parallel from the ground. And a 7-iron is a good club to then you start. What does the face of the club have to do? It's got to square up to the ball at impact, and it's the hands that be able to turn the right hand over the left hand if you're left hand you're
Yeah.
right-handed. So there's so many different things you can do when you practice.
Sure. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Randy Smith last week talked a
Yes.
lot about letting the club head create speed in the golf swing,
Yes.
and not so much the body. A couple listeners want you to elaborate on that a little bit more and what that means.
Well, let's take a pitcher in baseball. He's got to be under control before he swings the club. He's got to be balanced. He's got to be, he's got to have the distance in mind. You got to play with the number in mind. That's number one. But then in a football scenario, that quarterback has to get himself set before he can throw, and he's got to be relaxed. And it's hard to be relaxed when you got some 400-pound tackle coming to knock your head off. But it's all about control and balance. Control and balance. Full swing, half speed. Jack Nicklaus did that so well. He effortless power. I mean, Freddie Couples was just. He shows everybody how easy you can swing the club and still hit it 200 yards if you make solid face contact.
So that's what Morikawa was talking about as far as, because he can probably hit a 7-iron 190.
Right.
He's trying to hit it 155 yards, little cut.
Yeah, to a hard pin placement. He could have bunker on the right or water on the right, and you got to get that ball close to the pin. Lee Trevino was a marvelous control of the swing, and he played at 50, 60 miles an hour. He didn't play at 100, and he could put the ball inside 6 feet anytime he wanted.
And Tiger, when he was making his changes with Butch, was there a lot of that going on?
Sure.
Where when he first came out, wasn't he kind of swinging out of his shoes with wedges and going full at everything? Him and Butch worked on dialing it down a little bit.
Yeah, Butch, did a marvelous job in coaching Tiger as a young man because of his ability to swing the club at a high rate of speed. Butch got him under control, and number one, it only let him swing a driver that was 43 inches long. It wasn't nobody, back then they'd have 46-inch drivers. So control is the game of good golf.
Let's get to a couple more of your questions here. This comes from Lincoln. Charlie, is there one thing all pros and good amateurs do? Is there a common denominator between those players?
Well, in today's game, the college golfer, which is going towards the
Pros,
yeah. They're using the same techniques. The golf coaches are having the same ability to get them to do things that a normal person can't because of their they don't have enough time to devote to it. So the amateur 18 handicap, you got to learn to hit that ball 230 yards in the middle of the fairway before you try to hit it 300. Get control. That's what it's all about.
All right, here's Tapio. Charlie, what's the biggest mental hurdle you see in golfers today, and how do you coach them through it? Biggest mental hurdle.
Well, sometimes there's mental blocks, and you got to have a process, a pre-shot routine that is very clear and very positive, and it's step by step by step, and you get it just kind of like a singer. He's before he goes on stage, he's practicing the words in his own mouth, in his own mind, excuse me. And then in golf, the same thing. Before you hit the ball or you get in a stance, you got to go through a pre-shot routine where your mind is relaxed and accepting what you want it to do, and that's a talent.
Great stuff. Quick break. We'll be back on the other side. This is Charlie Epps, Golf Hours, Ryan Sparity, HR that makes a difference.
This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Powered by Insperity.
Now from the Veritex Community Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor and the golf doctor himself, Charlie Epps.
All right, that second congratulations is to Ben Wiley.
Ben Wiley.
Charlie's grandson, following in the footsteps of Charlie Wiley, just qualified for the Memorial High School golf team with some solid scores too, Charlie.
Well, he's following in his mother's footsteps, his sister's footsteps, and now they're over at Memorial. They did good. He's a fine young man, and so also all his teammates.
Yeah.
They're really into golf. I mean, it's so much fun to see the golf at Memorial High School, and coaches are doing a great job getting these programs going, and I'm really excited for Ben and for all the kids in golf.
I think this high school playoff high school qualification process that you have talked to me about over the last 5 years since COVID, like when Charlie Wiley was qualifying
Yep.
for Memorial. There was over 50 kids showing up for tryouts, more than football.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's just great stuff for the game.
Yes.
All aspects of the game are thriving right now. I mean, we've talked about it since 2020. The growth of the game on an amateur level, the weekend player, all the tee sheets are filled up around Houston. Now the game is just in a really good spot. Let's continue as far as the world of pro golf. One more thing on Morikawa. As we've talked about all show, he's going to have a great chance to pick up his 7th PGA Tour win this weekend if Tommy Fleetwood falters. But how about Morikawa having his 5th new caddy of the year on the bag? It's Mark Urbanek, who used to caddy for Tony Finau. Here was Morikawa on the new loop.
Yeah, well, I'm a veteran at this now.
Okay.
No, look, Mark came out last week into Vegas, and we got a lot of the little small details on figuring out, hey, do we do this? How do we say this? You know, it's as simple as, like, who's going to fill up the water bottle? Like, things that people don't think about that just add up over time that you say, hey, you know, it's just energy put out on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday if it was going to start fresh like that. So we had it down. You know, we knew what we were going to do, and we've been working really well. He's a very detail-oriented guy. I am as well, and it's nice to have that, you know, by my side.
That says a lot right there. Details, you know, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that when you go to the tee on Thursday, everything's in good shape. You know, everything's ready in the bag. Everything's, you know, you can't, you got to look for the details to really be a perfectionist. And Morikawa is a perfectionist, and so he's got to get somebody on his bag that has that same philosophy.
You see guys like Urbanek and Michael Greller out there walking the course. Like, let's say Morikawa or Scheffler has an afternoon tee time today. They'll be walking the course in the morning, Charlie.
It's just kind of like a CEO of a big company. They have their executive assistants that take care of all the minutia and keeps their office organized to where the boss can do what he needs to do, and that's think. So my hat's off to him. You know, you gotta. It's a free country, and you got to be able to do what you want to do. And so he's gone through 4 caddies, and it sounds like he's got somebody that might be able to help him.
Yeah, was with Billy Foster over the Scottish and British Open. Foster, he had caddied for Matthew Fitzpatrick, won a U.S. Open with Fitzpatrick, and that duo just didn't quite work. Morikawa still, you know, he's 8th on the Ryder Cup points list, Charlie.
Yep.
1 through 6 is Scheffler, Schauffele, Spahn, Hindley, DeChambeau, and Harris English.
Where's Bradley?
Keegan Bradley, yeah. So moving down the next 6, that would be captain's picks. It's Justin Thomas at 7, Morikawa at 8, Ben 2-time 25 winner Ben Griffin at 9, Keegan Bradley at 10. Struggling again right now. Last 3 events, Charlie, Keegan's starting to struggle just a little bit. You got Maverick McNeely at 11 and Brian Harmon at 12.
I like Maverick
Yeah.
McNeely. I like that Maverick name. I think that would really, really play well in the Ryder Cup.
This is going to be a tough process for Keegan, not only because he's got this battle with himself now. I mean, after the Travelers, I was crowning him as someone who's going to be part of this team, no doubt about it. Since that win, 41st in Detroit, 30th at the Open, miscut at Wyndham. And I don't think he's having too hot of a week in Memphis. Keegan, let's see here. Keegan's tied 57th in Memphis. He's 2 over right now. So, Charlie, I mean, it's not going to be an easy decision for, you know, a couple of reasons here. Remember Chris Gotterup? You know, he won the Scottish Open. Right now, he is 20th on the Ryder Cup standings. He won the Scottish, finished 4th at the Open, hasn't done much in 3 tournaments since. You know, he doesn't seem, and struggling this week in Memphis. that's not going to be an easy decision for Bradley. It seems like he might end up just taking the top 12 on this list.
Well, but when he accepted the captain responsibility a couple years ago, he's got to stick with that.
Yeah.
That's his job. That's his honor. And
Yeah.
to be the captain of a American squad, that's a high honor in golf and in sport. And don't complicate it. And there's plenty of players out there. You got to get somebody in. And he played college golf, and he whipped this team into shape.
Yeah.
Now he wants them to all go to Silverado to play. And I agree with that 100%. You got to keep playing. When they went into Italy 2 years ago, the American players didn't play 6 weeks before the tournament, so they were stale. So, but we got to win. I mean, come on, Keegan.
Yeah, Bethpage is going to be history. Obviously, you'd make more history there if Keegan was a playing captain. We haven't seen that since Palmer did it in the early 60s. Right now, unless he gets something going next week at Caves Valley, that decision looks a whole lot harder than 3-4 weeks ago after Bradley won in Connecticut. Cameron Young, last week's winner, he moved up to 15th. He's got a couple top finishes at the majors. Cantlay at 14. He's played very well at Caves Valley over the years. So we'll see. Not a lot of time left, but 2 this weekend and then the BMW next week are the last opportunities for these players to qualify. So we'll keep an eye on that. Charlie, looking at the Champions Tour, I want to get an update on your guy, Angel Cabrera. He's at 4 under at the Boeing Classic and a tie for 11th, 3 back of Jerry Kelly. How's his year going since winning the first 2 senior majors of the year?
He's doing real well. I mean, I take my hat off to Angel. He's worked really hard under stress conditions and proved to everybody that he can come back, and he has come back, and he's going into the playoffs with a good attitude. He's coming to Houston next week. We're going to have a little fun together and enjoy his company.
Wow.
and work on a couple of things. But sure, the next tournament on the Champions Tour is in Canada, and the Canadian government decided not to give him a visa to get into the country. Our good friends up in Canada, that doesn't make sense at all. The RNA, the USGA, and Augusta,
Canada Golf, that federation,
have all honored what Angel went through, and that he paid his dues, and he never hurt anybody, and he's on the right track. So we're going to overcome, never playing Canada again.
Yeah. What does a training session look like between you and Cabrera? Let's just say he shows up to a golf club of Houston or wherever. What does this day look like?
Well, I'll just spend some time watching his practice and so on and so forth on a personal note, and he doesn't go wrong too many times with what he does on the golf course. He has his son caddying for him, so I'll just I'll pick up the towel.
Very small things. You're not saying a whole lot.
No.
Oh.
Muy poco. Muy poco palabras.
Jerry Kelly in the lead in a tie for first with Matt Vogel. There now, I think, at the Regions tradition, Angel beat Jerry in a playoff. They were neck and neck down the stretch.
That's right.
There. So we'll see how that concludes. Once again, Angel only 3 back. Looking for another senior win. That's going to be good stuff over the weekend. Everyone enjoy the FedEx St. Jude coverage. You've got the Nexo Championship going on right now on the DP World Tour in Scotland. That's some good stuff on Golf Channel. We appreciate Ryan Morrow behind the 1s and 2s. Great work. Charlie, great work to you as always. And we appreciate our friends at Insperity for the support. This is the Charlie Epps Golf Hour, presented by Insperity HR that makes a difference. See you next Saturday.